Jump into time, rock your body in time.
Okay,
Okay,
I
I
believe
believe
you.
you.
What's happening right now is a lot of people our age in particular are looking at stuff that we have basically been raised our entire lives to go, that is the standard. This is what America is. This is how this works. And we're going, well, but that doesn't work. I'm at the point where I'm full nicking this and just
I don't
boycotting
know
it
if I
because
should
it's
take that. I
altogether.
don't know if I should take that as an insult.
No, I wouldn't take. I mean,
I'm just gonna Nate the fuck out of this. Battlefield 2042 should have been delayed. It should have been.
lose my train of thought. What was the thing you said right before I was talking?
Capitalism bad. All right, let's do this. Hey, everybody, it's Nick.
Hey, everybody, it's Nick. I mean, Nate.
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming back to the ThreadX3 Productions YouTube channel or on your earlobes on podcast services around the globe.
That's where we hear things is earlobes.
Yep. Earlobes and ear
Stub toes.
drums. Yeah.
Brum, bum, bum.
So, how has your week been so far? Yeah, like, I've said it before, and I'll say it 1,000 times. It's I love both my kids equally, but having one of them who favors me is definitely like just a different experience. Because Zoe Ann, like, there were straight up times where I was just jealous. Because, like, maybe I had a long day at work or, this, that, or the other. And I'd want some snuggles or whatever. And just Zoe Ann was just not fucking interested, And then fast forward to this girl. And yeah, like last night, I know, right? Last night, so I get home, she's in bed. I get home, I'm like trying to be as quiet as possible, and Zoe Ann always likes to get out of bed and like, hi daddy, welcome home, whatever. And I'm like, hi sweetie, she might be trying to sleep or whatever. All of a sudden I hear from the bedroom, and I'm like, oh, she's up. So I go up there, and she's just like, she gets up and she's like, yeah, daddy's here. And then she was just all over the place. We're talking super hyper, just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I lay down finally, because I had to like go take my clothes off, take my work clothes off and everything. So then I lay down, and so like, here's my pillow. We'll say this is my pillow. She's here with her head here. And she's just like, she stays like that for a little while. We get her to settle down. She kind of just sits there, and then she like switches to like where she's kind of like on her belly with her head to one side or whatever, and out. And I mean, that was by like 10 o'clock. So like by then, like Ashley had been trying to get her to go to sleep because she had to get up early today. Not like super early, but still like early. So she's like, okay, I'm trying to go sleep, damn it. So yeah. Ah, damn it. Hold on, you're not coming through for some reason. So start back over with the Mexican restaurant or whatever.
So yeah, he got one of those little balls, and of course it's like a little dollar thing, so it's not of the best quality, but he was like so excited about it and playing with it. And I picked him up yesterday from school, and he was like, he gets in the car and he's like, so they told us we can, bring toys. I told him, he was like, can I see the super ball is what he called it. I was like, yeah. I was like, get, put your seatbelt on and then I'll hand it to you. And so we got it put on, and then I he's telling me that as I'm handing it to him, yeah, like they told us I can bring toys to school. It's like, I can't wait to bring the Super Bowl to my friends. Pause. Which is busted. And I'm like driving, and I hear he just starts crying because there was like a tear in the thing, and I
Yeah.
thought it actually busted because I felt bad because I've been playing with it earlier in the day. So I was like, I was like, what do you mean it's busted? It wasn't busted a second ago.
No, it wasn't. Shut up, kid.
But like I turned around and it just broke my heart. He was just crying. I was like, no, it's okay, it's okay. Oh man, but it was. I was telling Marissa about it last night. I was like, it legitimately. It's just like, oh my god, like I just felt. I was like, I felt so bad. I was like, I couldn't do anything, but yeah.
Okay, let me see. So I got a DoorDash notification, and like this was at my door or whatever, and I'm like, okay, this is definitely something Ashley would get, but at the same time, it's like,
How did you get that
why?
from DoorDash?
I don't know. DoorDash is like your thing is here, and like I was sweet and I gave Ashley. So I went and got her some stuff from the store after Maddie had fallen asleep. I was like, I gotta go to the store. We need some snacks. Scared me for a second. We need some snacks, yada yada, right? And so when I saw DoorDash, I'm like, oh, she's being sweet, and she got me something. Because I got her something or whatever. So I thought maybe she was being sweet. And then this was there. I was like, what the fuck is this? So yeah, it's a little like Etch-a-Sketch thing. But then I was stupid and I didn't put it away. So now Maddie has seen it. Which means we're going to have an unboxing video. Shut the fuck up, you stupid piece of shit. We'll have an unboxing video right now. I'll probably have to go start her show back up because I don't hear it, but I did turn it down.
Just
so
hopefully it's not Cocomelon.
What the fuck is Cocomelon?
Oh, thank God! Thank God. I'm surprised that they didn't watch. So apparently, Cocomelon is like extremely popular kid show, and the reason is because it like
Yeah, you go like that, and then like that. And smile. See? Do you want to try?
Did you find a clue? You know what to do. Draw
Oh, there's a binky. Okay, we've been searching
baptized.
for this binky for a while now. I'm
Cool.
kind of scared.
Cool.
She's had it in her mouth. So where the fuck was it?
I'm trying
Can
to find.
I see? Can I? No, don't erase it yet. I want to see it. I want to see it first. Can I see? Whoa! Good job, kiddo. All right. Well, there's a lull. Let me go see if I can get her. We can kind of cut in our children stories right around there, but then also go into whatever you'd like to say.
Yeah.
I mean, take your time, sir.
It's hot. I apologize.
Welcome to ThreadX3's mukbang. What, can we just talk about that for a second? Who the fuck came up with mukbang? Like, okay, I don't want to be racist, but is that a Chinese thing? Like mukbang?
Honestly, it could be an Australian thing, just based on the fact
Really?
that, well, I say that because
Okay.
I watched a video today
Crikey!
of a Tom. It was a Tom Hardy Andy Serkis interview for Venom, Let There Be Carnage. And it was just like at one point they played a game that's like interpret this Australian slang, and just the words that this guy was saying, it's like that sounds like it would be something like, actually, you know what, let's look it up. Mukbang.
Yeah, mukbang. It's such a weird.
Mukbang.
It'd be like if they called them mastication videos. Like, I don't understand where the term came from.
Mukbang apparently is from Korean descent. Starting in South Korea, mukbang.
I'm not racist. I'm observant.
Oh, okay. Starting in South Korea, mukbang is a live stream of a host who binge eats large quantities of food as they talk to their audience.
Yeah, I don't know why that would be.
a thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Now I could understand like trying something and then reacting to it. Like I'm gonna try this thing, but mukbang, from what I understand, the whole gimmick is like you said, large quantities. So we're not just talking about, oh hey, let me have a burger. It's let me have like all Mr. Beast's menu at the same time or something like that, right?
It seems to me like it could be a fantas.
Fantasization.
Yeah, thank you. We're gonna go with that
Or
one.
just an excuse to be like, see, I don't eat that much.
Well, no, that was I was gonna say. It's like fantasizing gluttony because for whatever
Right,
reason,
right.
I feel like the audience for that is, and I'm not trying to say this in like a. This is from my understanding. I'm not trying to make this like a racism or like racist joke or anything, but like in some Asian countries, like isn't that kind of a thing where like I mean, food is in plenty, but like they eat more of a well balanced diet. Like they don't,
Gotcha,
they're not
okay.
obese like most people
Americans.
eat in America. So it could be
America.
like whenever they're hankering for like, ooh, I want to watch someone just stuff their face. Like it doesn't appeal to me, but I mean,
Yeah.
look, people watch people who fart on cakes. So I mean, who's to judge?
Ah!
Good old cake farts.
I could have gone the rest of the day without hearing cake fart. So thanks for that.
That's not a-
What were we getting at? Oh yeah, how's your fucking day?
My week's been good.
Yeah.
It's kind of a lot of like trying to keep my anxiety at bay. You know, especially working on like my last project. I graduate in 13 days, something like that.
Okay.
So you know, you can't really see it because it's dark, but hung up back there one of those sound dampening blankets, and have been using that
Yeah.
for like a makeshift vocal booth for this thing. So just kind of been
Do you
working.
just like put it over yourself and be like, hey,
So I tried that. And it's heavy. So it was like I was sitting there going like this. So I
can't breathe.
draped it.
Can't breathe.
I draped it over the door, the closet door, and there's like a little pocket where I go in there. But
No, that's funny.
other than that, I've been playing a lot of Watch Dogs Legion, and then show wise, we've been finishing up Daredevil, and what was the other one we were watching?
Have you watched the Bops of Beep? Beep Bop.
No.
Ah, you fucker.
I can tell you anything we've watched that hasn't been super current. What was the other thing we were just doing the like seasonal Harry Potter rewatch.
Oh, yeah, seasonal. So it's not a yearly thing, it's a seasonal thing for you?
Well, no, the whole thing. That's the whole internet thing. It's like, oh, what happens whenever fall comes? Like what's the fall vibe,
Really?
fall aesthetic? Like people put up like the Harry Potter intros. Yeah, apparently that's a thing when it's
Interesting,
fall
okay.
time. Like White Girls and Pumpkin Spice, Harry Potter is a cultural. Yeah. So we're on. We've got to watch.
It's Leviosa.
I love your song.
It's pumpkin spice.
Oh, so I had. Speaking of, we're gonna do a live reaction. I saw a dad joke of a Snape meme that it took me a while to get, but when I finally did, I was like, "Oh my god,
Snape. Severus Snape.
Dumbledore!" I just sent it to you.
You mean I have to read? I thought you were just gonna say it to me.
No, it's a visual thing.
Okay, Snape. Hanukkah?
Menorah.
Manure. Salt Bobby Lime. Snape, Menorah, Snape, It. Building, Kale. Is that Kale?
That's not Kale. What is that? What is the name of that building? Say it from the beginning.
I don't know. What is that building?
That's an Aldi's.
Okay, I can't tell because it's super blurry. It's an Aldi's?
Aldi's. ALDIS.
Aldi's. Okay, that must
Yeah.
be a Texas thing.
No, it's a German thing apparently.
It's a diamond thing. Okay, so say Snape, Menorah, Snape, Bobby, but Nate, no, Shaker, Bobby, Lime, Snape, Menorah, Snape, it. Am I supposed to say it there?
Yeah.
Snape it. What is that again?
Aldi.
Aldi. Kale? What is it?
That's time.
Time. So Snape, Menorah, Shaker, Bobby, Lime, Snape, Menorah, Snape, it, Aldi, time. Okay.
Still nothing?
Snape, Sonora.
Oh, damn it. Okay, I was...
Take it all the time. Shake, Sonora. Okay, I get it, but...
I was hoping it would be funnier than that.
Weird.
Moving on.
I mean, you thought wrong.
Yeah, I did things wrong. That's on me.
Shake, Sonora.
How's your week been?
Jump in the lime, rock your body in time. Okay, I believe you. How's my week been?
Which, off the record, real quick, that's 100% going to be a short, like a clip somewhere.
Right, yeah. I haven't had as many existential crises as I usually do, but I still,
They're still there.
they're still there. I feel very useless most of the time, and useful some of the time. So, yeah, still don't love my job.
Well,
I don't know if I've said this on a show before, but it's like I switched to Domino's rather than Uber Eats, and it's a different mindset for me, because on the one hand, from a family perspective, I'm working, I'm getting a steady paycheck, and good tips, really fucking good tips on a lot of nights. And that's all great. But then from a personal perspective, for some reason, delivering from Uber Eats versus delivering for Domino's, it just feels different. And the number one thing is corporatization. Uber Eats, all I could do is just click, and then I was working. And then, it's a little slow. Oh, I want to take the night off to spend some time with my family. Ashley's not feeling good. She had a really bad day at work, so I'm going to fuck her hard instead of working. Point being is that at any time I could just be like, I'm not going to work today, or I am going to work, but I'm only going to work a little bit. And at the beginning of the pandemic, that's all I needed, And so I was a full-time dad, part-time, Uber Eats driver. So it was really the closest thing to being like a stay-at-home dad, because it's like there were some nights I could literally work 2.5 hours and get like $70-$80. Granted, if I would have worked longer, yeah, I probably could have gotten like, 100, 150, right? But I worked 2.5 hours and got $80, and I'm like, you know what? Now I can go home to my family and I can just spend time with them.
yeah.
And so now it's like I'm 5 to 9, which, anybody out there who works 8-hour days is just like, shut up, Nick. Why are you complaining? But no, like the reason I'm complaining is just because
It's the corporate structure.
it's the corporate structure. It is also the fact that I definitely feel like I have so much less time with my wife, because now I'm having to literally work opposite of her. She gets home, I have maybe 30 to 45 minutes with her, but I'm getting ready for work, right? So I'm not really with her.
Yeah.
And my kids, like Maddie, I get to see all the time. I get to see her, because she stays home with me. But Zoe Ann, she gets off at 3 and I have to work at 5. She doesn't get home until like 3:30.
Yeah.
And so then Ashley gets home at 4, and it's like I just don't have any time with my family anymore. And so that really sucks. Like summer's going to come along and then I'll have all the time in the world with my girls, but that won't really fix the problem with my wife. With my wife. So it has taught me to, treasure like the moments I do have, like the whole thing with Maddie that I said earlier. But yeah,
I mean, I get exactly what you're saying because having basically like at the moment, at the current moment, I'm unemployed because I was gonna set up five. Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna go ahead and like set up like
That's
five,
how I feel a lot. So
was-
don't. Yeah. Anyways,
set up
go on.
like pages for like my sound design stuff and go ahead and get that started. But part of me is like, let's wait to give monetary commitments until we're done with our collegiate commitments that are going to wrap up here. So I'm it's kind of
yeah.
so at the moment, yeah, I'm really just primarily focusing on school, like full time on that. And having been out of literal corporate America from the past 2 years working at the company I was at before, it's like I see the TikToks of people like, doing the skits about, talking to HR or and stuff like that. And it's like, I never want to fucking deal with that again because it's just like, it is so apparent how like outside looking in now it's like, oh my God. It's like, yeah, and people talk about like the great resignation. It's like, no, people just know their worth now. Like that's really all it is to it. Like,
Yeah.
a
A lot of people like to attribute, people not working like as laziness. And it's like, no, during the pandemic there's this weird thing that happened. We got money to stay home, but that money was more than what we were getting paid for work, and it's like, wait, I deserve better.
Yeah.
So it literally had nothing to do with like being lazy or whatever. If anything, everybody would prefer to work, but it's like we deserve to be treated better, because I think what COVID really did is it also just shined a light on things like sick pay and I mean even just days off and things like that. It's like, wait a second, like just, it really opened up a lot of people's eyes, I think.
Well, it's like my buddy, he was just telling me the other day, he works for, it's like a third party call center for subsidiary and for another company. Like he's basically like on chat. Like he's like one of the chat sales kind of thing. He has 80 hours of PTO. And every time he puts in a request, it gets denied. The reason that they're denying it is based on, from what he was telling me, is based on his basically his metrics and performance, in the sense of like he not performance, sorry.
Right. Oh, okay.
Of his
You're not
record.
doing good enough. You don't get the hours that you have
Yeah,
earned.
no, that would be straight up illegal. But it's he's had instances of being late by 10 minutes or so, and so they're like, due to your behavior, like we're denying. But he'll see people are off and they're like, what's going on with them? It's like, oh yeah, they had their time off request and whatever, but all of his get denied. And I straight up told him, I was like, dude, you are entitled to that PTO. That is not like, because he was talking about Spider-Man, because he's really wanting to see Spider-Man opening night, and he put in a request for it last week to let them know 4 weeks ahead of time, hey, I need this day off.
Right.
And they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they can't do that. I told him to look in his like employee handbook, because I can't think that that's legal for a company to hold your earned vacation time based on any sort of, like, no matter what. And also he's a parent, so I'm sure the reason he was late at times was because he was getting his son settled or something like that, because he works from home. And so it's like,
oh, that's even worse. It's like, oh, I'm 10 minutes late, but it's like, yeah, I was literally dealing with my kid. And see, it'd be one thing if like, I'm just going to give an example. My wife has, I don't even know how much paid time off. And every year she has to basically get rid of And by get rid of, I mean like she doesn't get to fucking use it, but she has to get rid of like up to like 90 hours of paid time off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because she's the director of the aquatics, and there's not a lot of time that she can actually afford to take off. You know? So it's bullcrap that at the end of the year, essentially she has to just get rid of 90 hours. But see, that's different because...
How come they can't pay her for that is my question.
Right?
How come they
I
can't
think at
hash
the
that
end of
out?
the year, instead of just just making it magically disappear, whatever, you would have had to pay for it anyways, right? But like instead of just magically getting like cut her a fucking check or something, you know? But like this has been happening for years.
She can't take off and use that time.
Yeah. Because she's got trainings or because she doesn't have enough staff. Now, granted, she hasn't had enough staff lately because of the whole, you know, COVID thing. But even, we're talking, this has been happening for years. Ever since she was in a high enough position where she had, you know, vacation time, she's never been able to take all of it off.
See, that's...
For one reason or the other. But that's because of her workflow and everything. So it's like, what I'm saying is that that's different. He is just straight up getting denied it, you know? Whereas like she can't find like a 2-week period where she could just be like, I'm yeet the fuck out and just like go on vacation or whatever.
Well, like that's what's interesting to me is because, and I don't know if it's different like state-wise, but in Texas, like at the job I was at before, it was a call center. I know it's different with you saying she's in like a directorial kind of role, but the whole thing with our company was if we had a lot of accrued sick time or time that was like basically all but our vacation time was going to roll over. I'm sorry. Vacation time is the only thing that would roll over when the year concluded. So like sick time and all that other time, like personal time, we got sick, personal, vacation, and something like that. So they gave us a lot of time, which was nice. But a lot of the employees, like a lot of people who were on my teams, whenever I was in the, you know, regular sales department, they would say, hey, you have this much time, go take it. And it's like, oh, but that would have me off for a week. And they're like, go take it. You've got to use your time. So like, and even with like the supervisors, a lot of them would, you know, use their vacation time that they would earn. Now, granted, they wouldn't take off for a while, but they might take off for a week, you know, or extend a period of time. So that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's basically theft the way you've described it.
Yes, exactly. I mean,
is she salary?
Oh yeah, she's salary.
Yeah, I mean, so, I feel like that's kind of par for the course in that one.
Yeah, it's even more messed up when they have her do a training. Trainings are trainings. Okay, let me think for a second because it's like, what am I trying to get at? Oh, training. Training, they would have to pay her differently, and so they have like her do the training so that since she's salary, it's like they're already paying her, and so they don't have to pay her a different SKU because she's salary.
Yeah,
which I think is super fucked up, because anytime she's training, like she's training this whole weekend. She's training until like 8 to 4 today, but then it's 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. So she doesn't get a fucking day off. That's number one. Fuck that. Right? But she's working 9 to 5 Saturday and Sunday. So she's getting overtime, but she doesn't get overtime because she's salary, which I think is the most effed up thing. Like
100%.
I can't remember if it was like something that Trump did or something. I can't remember, but it was like 2 or 3 years ago. The place she was working at was gonna switch to where she had to start getting paid hourly, and then some policy changed, and then they just like, oh well, we don't have to, so we're not going to. It's like, that's fucked up. That's super fucked up. So whenever like the rich get like tax breaks and they're like, oh yeah, it's trickled down. They're just gonna take that money that they saved and give it to everybody. Yeah, fuck that. No, they're not.
It's just like
There's
it's the whole thing.
stock buybacks. They're gonna buy a fucking yacht. They don't give a rat's ass about 1125 778.
What
Whoever the fuck that is.
like the thing. This is what's getting me right now, and what in one part makes me feel woke, and what one part makes me feel batshit crazy because it's like it has that kind of energy to me, honestly. Of it is so apparent to me how well for one the generational gap is so obvious right now, going back to the whole like great resignation thing, but um it, what's happening right now is a lot of people our age in particular are looking at stuff that we have basically been raised our entire lives to go, that is the standard, this is what America is, this is what, this is what your life is, this is, this is how this is how this works. And we're going, well, but that doesn't work.
Right.
Well, no, but it does. And we're like, but it doesn't. And then they call
But
us
it
whining.
shouldn't.
Yeah, and then they say that we're whining about it. And so it's
Right.
like we're in a stage where we're finally realizing, hey, we're waking up and not as stupid as corporate America thinks we are. But
Right.
going to the whole thing with like Bobby Kotick, for example, when he was like, I'm going to cut back my salary, and everyone's like, dude, that's like a drop in the hat for the money that you make. Like, that's not going to do anything.
You literally fought tooth and nail for $150 million bonus, because it's like, hey guys, I did so good, I deserve 150 million, and I believe that was this year. And so then he's like, oh yeah, I'll take a pay cut, and it's like,
I'm at the point where I'm full nicking this and just
I
boycotting.
don't know if I should take that. I don't know if I should take that as an insult.
No, I wouldn't take. I mean,
I'm just gonna Nate the fuck out of this.
I wouldn't take it as an insult. What I'm meaning in this sense is like I'm taking, when you say you want to boycott something or take a stance, you're like, I'm taking this stance and I'm not moving from it. So like that's what I'm doing. Like I'm just not motivated to purchase, play, or buy any Activision products at this moment because
I mean, luckily that's like one a year because Activision doesn't do anything.
But it's like it's
like if we sorry, if we boycotted something like EA or whatever, we'd be boycotting several different franchises versus or Ubisoft. Ubisoft's a really good example. If we boycotted Ubisoft, we'd be boycotting like 4 games a year.
Yep.
But boycotting Activision, we're like, okay, we're just not gonna buy that game this year.
It's
sorry,
just,
go on.
What's funny to me with that, because we've talked about Activision before, but like how the dominoes keep falling in such a bad way. Because I know you watched Skillup's video the other day, whenever he was talking about the update, and the one that got me was whenever, I don't remember her name, but whenever this first broke, and it was the female like lead, whoever, I don't remember her role, who came out and made that very tone deaf statement about the accusation.
Oh yeah, and Bobby was the one who wrote it.
Yeah, it's like, and then they're like, we stand behind him. It's like, yeah, because he made you billions over the past 30 years. Like,
yeah. And it's that's corporate America right there for you. The fact that they got a woman to go against,
make a statement that a man
other women essentially, but a white man wrote it for her.
A misogynistic text they gave to a woman, so it would not read as misogynistic. It's exactly what
right. It's like the calculation of doing something like that is just so fucked up. And yeah, I mean, yeah, corporate America is just really dumb. Like I'll never understand something like my wife, how she is salary, and they base her salary off of 40 hours, but she could work 60, she could work 50, she could work 45 or something. Now there's a lot of times, granted, there are a lot of times that she's right at the 40-hour mark, but then sometimes, somebody calls in sick, somebody whatever, like, and she has to cover the empty slots or whatever. So there can be weeks where several weeks in a row it's 45 hours, 50 hours, 50 hours, and she just doesn't get anything for that extra effort. And it's like the fact that that's just like
What's
you were talking
expected.
about, that's what's expected, that's what's normal, quote unquote normal. It's just like, no, there's this one report, if I find it I'll send it to you, but there's this one report of a guy who runs like runs a CEO place, and he pays everybody who works there the exact same amount of salary, and even he has the same amount of salary. And of course, productivity didn't go down, it actually went up. And like, I'm gonna find it now. So yeah, here it is. Here we're just, you know what, we're just so silly today, and we're just we're not even talking like video games or anything. This is all life, man. Okay, ready?
This morning we have an update on the story of a CEO who made a stunning announcement on employee pay. This was more than 6 years ago when we first told you about it. 2015, Dan Price is his name. He raised the salary of everyone at his Seattle credit card processing company to at least $70,000 a year, at least.
Could you imagine that?
Price's decision was met with predictions
Now, Seattle,
of
that would be
bankruptcy
like
from his worst
mid,
critics, but we're here to tell you now that has not happened. Instead, the company is actually thriving, and as Carter Evans shows us, the higher pay has helped employees buy homes and start families.
New parents and coworkers, Carrie Chen and Alex Franklin.
Yeah, like a lot of analysts or whatever would like to say that if you did something like that, you would make your company bankrupt. But yeah, they just said it. No, they didn't. In fact, they're thriving.
Can't wait to introduce their son to colleagues at work, a company they say made it possible for them to begin a family in the first place.
And you weren't the only ones that had a baby, huh?
No, everybody had a baby.
So it's a baby boom here. Why do you think that's happening?
We can afford it.
They both work at Gravity Payments in Seattle, a credit card processing company with a CEO who 6 years ago did something that shocked everyone.
And we're going to have a minimum $70,000 pay rate for everyone that works here.
You had people making $35,000 a year, but you told them you were going to double their salary.
Yeah.
And then you actually had to do it.
Right.
How did you pull it off?
Well, it's tricky. You know, I took the $1 million pay cut.
That's right, $1 million pay cut. Dan Price was simultaneously hailed as a hero and eviscerated as an enemy of capitalism.
Lunatic of all lunatics, Dan Price.
Personally, I think he's a socialist.
I hope this company is a case study in MBA programs because it's going to fail.
But that didn't happen.
So you've almost doubled the number of employees, and you've tripled business.
Yeah.
And you're still paying a minimum of $70,000 a year.
Correct.
How much do you make?
I make $70,000 a year.
To pay his own bills, Price downsized his own life, sold a second home he owned, and tapped into his own savings.
I think it was a big risk.
Yeah. Andrew Haffenbrack teaches at the University of Washington's Foster School of Business.
It does go against what people expect and what we usually see in terms of corporations and companies.
These days, average CEO compensation is 320 times more than the salaries of their typical workers.
This shows
I know, you just hear that and you're just like, what?
Do you pay what you can get away with, or do you pay what you think is ideal or reasonable or fair?
Why aren't more companies doing this?
I would say that's the failure of this. You know, I feel like I've been shouting from the rooftop like, this works, everybody should do it. And 0 big companies are following suit because the system values having the highest return with the lowest risk and the lowest amount of work.
But Price thinks Gravity's returns are up in large part because bigger paychecks have led to fiercely loyal employees.
Our turnover rate was cut in half. So when you have employees staying twice as long, their knowledge of how to help our customers skyrocketed over time. And
Don't have to spend
that's
as much in
really
training.
what paid for the raise more so than my pay cut.
Meeting them where they are.
The company did take a hit during the pandemic, losing 55% of its business in March 2020. At one point, Price figured Gravity was only 4 months away from failing, but it bounced back after its employees voluntarily took a temporary pay cut.
We reduced our salary to $40,000.
Yeah, I think we took each about somewhere around 60%.
Are you back up to normal now?
Not only back to normal, Gravity repaid us all of the pay cut that we had voluntarily given up.
Are we gonna get a little playpen in here for you?
Are you like seriously? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
it is insane to me how it is not apparent. Two things. One, not apparent to me or to most people that the Republican Party only cares about fucking money. A, B, like how corporate America, capitalism, literally all they care about is money, which is what I guess capitalism was based off of. But like the fact of the matter is, and like he was saying there, companies do not want to risk relying on employee as humans. Like they all they care about is what they know that they can prove on paper. And my advice to anyone out there in the working environment is, if you hear any employer, whether you're about to start the job or if they tell you on the job you're replaceable, call them on their bluff and walk out. Quit. If they're gonna have that mentality and you've already had past, like, quit. Because they don't value you. They do not value you. If they feel like they can replace you, they do not value you.
Yeah. And I mean, like, yeah, that whole thing where they all took a voluntary pay cut. So it's not like the CEO went to them and was like, "Hey, could we,
It's not like Bobby Kotick was like, "Hey, I'm gonna like fire 800 people. Hey, you guys don't have jobs, so we can give bonuses to." Exactly.
That is a perfect example. So Activision, year over year, their numbers were down, but here, like, the weird thing is that they were down. But they were only down according to their projections. And that's the problem with corporate America, is that if you make, let's say, $80,000 one year, you have to make 100,000, or realistically, you have to make 160,000 the next year. But how is that possible? How can you always be expecting to double your profits, double your income, double your margins or whatever? Like, how is that possible? Eventually the ceiling or the floor is going to collapse and you're going to be left with nothing, And here's a perfect example. Battlefield 2042 should have been delayed. It should have been. So many people were screaming. Battlefield hardened veterans who have been with the series from the very beginning and who've been streaming it nonstop, even though we haven't had a Battlefield or a, we had Battlefield 5, obviously, but
it's been 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because didn't Battlefield 5
this
come out
one,
in 2019?
a lot of people are saying took 6 years to make.
How?
So like they were making it at the same time.
Did
like,
it take 6 years to develop the fucking weather, the tornado? Did it take 6 years on the tornado?
Right?
Like, I don't
Right. But I mean, yeah, so you have all your loyal fans telling you, please, for the love of God, delay this. But instead of actually listening to the people that you put the beta out there, presumably so that you could see what people think about it, right?
Yeah.
Why else do a beta other than, you want to just, pump up those, pre-order bonuses or whatever. It's like, okay, I get that, but also you should be doing it to get people's opinion. And I don't know of a single person other than that whiny ass video that Drifter did. I don't know of a single person who didn't say, yeah, this should go ahead and be delayed. Even the whiny ass Drifter video, I'm pretty sure even said that, it probably needs more work.
Well, that's the thing, is even in his footage of like when the beta first came out, like the footage and everything in the gameplay looked incredible. I'm actually going to his page right now to see if he has posted an update since that video.
Yeah. I mean, while you're saying that, I'm going to anecdotally talk about my experience. The beta, I talked about this on a couple episodes ago. I literally couldn't play. I did end up buying the game because I was like, okay, Portal just seems so cool. I wanna be able to just create with Portal. So I ended up getting the game. And not only did I get the game, but I got the $90 version of the game, which gave me 7 days early access and 4 battle passes and 4 characters. So 4 battle passes is already $40 because that's like $10. But then the characters, if they're anything like if they're anything like the think Nick, if they're anything like the Apex characters, which I would imagine it would probably be very similar. They're both EA, and they both have like, you know, different abilities and stuff like that. So 4 characters, you could be looking at $750 per character. So it's like it was a really good deal to get 4 battle passes and 4 characters. I'm like, all right, yeah, it's a no-brainer, right? So I got 7 days early access. During those 7 days, it was bad, but it wasn't that bad. Like, I still had my hang-ups about it, but it was like, as soon as like the general public, the non, you know, gold editions came in, you know, the normies.
Yeah.
As soon as all the normal people came in, the people who only paid the very base amount, stuff, it started getting way worse. It started getting so much worse. And so now it's like I would have a bug where like you can't switch your loadout or whatever. I'd have that maybe once a play session. And a play session would be like, you know, 2 hours. And it would be easy to fix.
Yeah.
Now it happens like my first match, I'll be able to do my loadout. My second one, nope.
Yeah, like for me on it, and to give an update on the whole YouTube thing, and not really to as much disrespect on this one, but I do think he very much clearly just like ate crow on that one, because like there's not any other video apart from I'm skeptical about Hazard Zone, and that was posted close to the other 2 Battlefield videos. Everything else has been, well, no. He's got one Hazard Zone video, which I haven't seen, so I don't know. But that's the only other one. So it's like, I think even maybe tangentially, this is just me projecting, but maybe even he himself is like, ooh, this is, because it's like, it's clear as day. There's a lot of stuff that's wrong with it. Like, even as, and I'm not as hardcore of a Battlefield fan, I think, even as you are, but like for me, in my experience, I went hardcore into Battlefield 3, loved the campaign because I didn't have internet, loved the campaign for Bad Company 1 and 2, and, you know, Battlefield 4 was but like, going into the 2 matches that I played in the beta, which matches were 10 to 15 minutes each, maybe, sessions that I had jumped in, was unplayable. So when me and you jumped in on Portal, I was like, this is fun. Like, yeah, I'm having fun with this. I can see this, like this, you know, okay, kind of getting my sea legs back in Battlefield. And then you wanted to jump into regular, and I was like, I was scared. And then when we jumped in, it was playable. I was like, oh, okay, this isn't as bad, but I still wasn't having fun. Like there's something about how, well, I think in Battlefield games, anytime they change up the dynamics or change up the gameplay, a lot of the fun gets taken away because you're spending time figuring out the systems again. Like Hardline was a good example of that. Hardline had a real different inventory system, real different, everything was like hash based. And so that turned me off, I think, from getting too hardcore into it, because the barrier to entry was just too much. But yeah, it very long-winded way of saying it absolutely should have been pushed. And I don't think we know at this moment who's to blame here. If it's EA or...
It's EA. It's EA. I'm sorry. But that's one thing I genuinely don't like.
And that was in a curious way. Like, yeah.
No. That's genuinely one thing I don't like, when everybody's just ragging on Battlefield, or more specifically DICE. Who at DICE, like, let's be 1,000% honest, who at DICE is thinking to themselves, oh my god, I can't wait to put out this buggy mess? You know, a person who spent hours making sure that the pupils on each of the characters' eyes looks realistic, or the person who did like just the outfits, you know, and they spent hours and hours. What about the people who are in charge of the movement system? Being able to mantle correctly, being able to slide, being able to aim down sights, just everything that's actually playing the game. Do you honestly think that any of them wanted the game out and they wanted it out right now? Fuck no.
That should have waited at least until spring.
Right? EA wanted their fiscal year to look a certain way. And so this is getting back to the whole corporate talk that we were talking about before. They absolutely needed their end of year projections to be a certain way. So instead of having goodwill with your fan base, they wanted a quick buck. And they got it. I paid $89.99 for a special edition for 4 characters that I don't have yet and 4 battle passes that I haven't played through yet. And or might not even, if I'm being honest. Because if I play again, when the first battle pass comes out, for instance, and if I play it and it's super buggy, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to force myself to muscle through all the bullshit.
That's,
you know?
Yeah, that ruins a game a lot of time. And for me, that's kind of what ruined like Halo 5, for example, like with
absolutely ruined
with the multiplayer. Like the multiplayer was fun. I really enjoyed the gameplay of it. It felt like Halo, but how I felt the whole like microtransaction shit drop stuff, like how that was so highlighted. I'm like, this feels gross. This doesn't feel like, and like while kind of going into something more current, while I don't love the fact that Halo Infinite multiplayer apparently seems to be bare bones when it comes to certain content based on what drop whenever the game came out, from what I understand, it feels great and they fixed the XP problem. So it doesn't seem like it has that issue. So it looks like we're at a point where these games are basically where the developers are starting to be like, hey, we're aware you guys. Honestly, I guess with this, what I'm getting at is I'm wondering when we're officially going to, as gamers, get to the point of, hey, we're not going to deal with your bureaucratic bullshit anymore with Activision and Battlefield, because I think every single person who is hyped for Battlefield, like you were saying, was saying delay the damn game.
Mm-hmm.
It's irrefutable.
And, and here's the thing is that how many people, on average, how many people don't buy a game until their favorite streamer plays the game and shows them how it's going?
A lot of people.
It's not a lot, but even if it's 1 million, let's say it's 1 million and it's a $60 game. That's $60 million that they're basically leaving on the table because they're putting out a buggy mess. And I feel like 1 million is probably pretty low. It's a low ball for sure, because there's tons of people who probably don't buy a game until they see reviews on it. No matter, there's going to be people like me, and part of it was because I'm a content creator, and then the other part was because I was genuinely excited for Battlefield. But there's plenty of people out there, especially after, like, how many videos, how many reports after the beta came out, how many sales did they lose because they're like, you know what, I'm going to wait. And then what did they do? They did wait, and they saw how bad it is, and now they're not going to buy it. And the thing is that this whole like fix it later mentality is a 100% corporate thing. Like I said, what developer who worked on a game, who painstakingly made sure that the way you aim down sights, or the way the gun kicks up, or the way how accurate it is, they're just all these numbers and typing and making sure that everything's balanced. What person at EA, or DICE rather, what person is like, yeah, I can't wait? No, they can wait because they want people to like it.
Cyberpunk is another great example. Like it's probably one of the perfect examples. And so I think I'd seen a tweet the other day from someone that was like, look, Cyberpunk, when everything is said and done, is going to be an absolutely phenomenal game. It's one of those that, I mean, and it is in a special circumstance, but yeah, because of sales numbers, had to get it out, and it's suffering, and it's a thing now, of course. But what were you saying before that? 'Cause I was gonna leave
basically, yeah. If they would have stopped and just breathed for a second, they could have made so much more money, because they, not only that, but they would have had so much more goodwill.
Well,
how much more people would have bought the season pass if they knew that it's in such good condition.
Well, here's the problem, this is why I don't think we're ever going to let these corporations know anything anytime soon. I looked up the sales numbers, and someone had a good tweet that pointed out all the different Battlefield sales. Battlefield 2042 sold 4.23 million units in its first week. By comparison, the only one that surpassed that was Battlefield 3 with 4.68 million. Everything else, Battlefield 1 3.46, Battlefield 4 2.59, and Hardline and Bad Company 2 a million or less in the first week. Now, in the older ones, offenses that though they weren't, I feel like, really in the zeitgeist as much as Call of Duty was, because I feel like that was still around Modern Warfare. So those numbers make sense, but it's just still infuriating to see that the buggy mess of a bullshit game that should not have come out has sold almost as much as one as my personal favorite Battlefields of all time, 3.
Yeah.
It's like, what is that? What does that
Battlefield
show?
3, in your defense, Battlefield 3 is probably the one that really made it mainstream. So I think a lot of people would agree with you.
Like, I feel like Battlefield 3 is Halo 3 in a lot of ways, where it's the commercial. Like, if you say, hey, what Battlefield should I play if I've never played one? Battlefield 3, because it's like an all-in-one suite. It's modern enough. It's not weird. It feels straight and to the point. But yeah.
It's disappointing.
It is because
it's disappointing because I let myself get hyped. I let myself see the problems and not really.
I wouldn't blame yourself. I almost bought Vanguard myself because I was really almost. It was, when I say almost, it was the thought was there when I didn't have it before, and it was because of how hard they were going into the marketing. The fact that they were doing a lot of really cool stuff with the marketing and like doing the like historical flashbacks and like doing really cool things. I was like, oh, like you're doing your job of getting me interested. But we all know it's whatever on Vanguard. But that's the thing that's the most disappointing, is because that clearly shows people, hey, we can put out a game that nowhere compares to one of our best-selling games of all best-selling Battlefields of all time, but yet it will still be bought by people. Like, that's exactly what that tells them.
Yeah. Yeah, I really wish more power was put into the actual developers, and it's that we watched that video. The average CEO gets paid 350 times more than the people literally making the game. So if they didn't sell the 42 or 4.23
million.
If they didn't sell the $4.2 million, they wouldn't have gotten as big of a paycheck. And so but as big of a paycheck would have been the difference between 50 million to 45 million. It's 5 million, which is more than any of us.
They didn't have.
Right? But still, it's just, that's the problem with corporate America is they'd rather put out something now than put out something right. And it's like that's why that's why when somebody tries to say that like capitalism is like the best and capitalism is like the main way to do things, it's just like, no.
Well, the thing with adulting, at least that's getting me now, for me as someone who just thinks about, was just fascinated with everything in the fucking world, so my mind is always racing, but the fact that I can just sit there and clearly lose my train of thought. What was the thing you said right before? was talking.
Capitalism bad.
Oh, part of growing up is realizing, oh wait, my entire school life, I basically was fed propaganda.
Yeah, pretty much. Like here's a really good example of corporate America and how fucked up it is. Okay, I work at Domino's. I mean, the only reason I'm willing to say that, I've always like kept
Domino's
all my
has
other
a lot
things.
of goodwill. Company feels like.
Can you let me? The only reason I'm willing to say Domino's, because I've always kept all my other things secret, is because it's a big enough thing. I don't feel like I have to give a fuck. Anyways, but Domino's, I work for Domino's and I get paid like $8 and yada yada cents, right? What I do is I take the pizza and I bring it to a person. That's my labor. Now, obviously, in between, if there's some downtime, I'll go wash some dishes, I'll sweep, or I'll just kind of stand in a corner and hope my name gets called. Because, anyways, now, a person on the inside making the pizzas also gets paid around $8 an hour. And on average, on a really good night, I can kind of just look over there and they are non-stop. They have order after order after order. For every order I'm taking out, there's like 6 orders that they're working on, right? And yet I get tips. I get a ton of tips. Like just, for example, last night for a 4-hour shift, 4.5 hour, but really not the point. But for a 4-hour shift, I got $60. 49 of it was for tips, and the other 11 was for gas or whatever, because they pay me for gas or whatever. And so I'm getting paid 60 extra dollars. So for 4, that's 1, carry the 2, 5, $15. I'm getting paid $15 extra an hour to pick up the pizza and take it to somebody.
I pick it up and I put it down.
I pick it up and I put it down. Meanwhile, people are flattening out the dough. They're putting the cheese on. They're putting all the ingredients on. They're spreading the sauce. They're putting it in the oven. It goes through the oven. Somebody else takes that. They put it in a box. They fold up the box. They make sure that everything in that order is together, and then they give it to me. There's so much labor, is my point. There's so much labor going into just a pizza going to me, let alone a pizza going to all the other delivery drivers and all the carryouts and all the car side pickups.
Yep.
There's so much labor in that versus me, for all intents and purposes, sitting on my ass for most of my day, standing up, walking over, and either picking up or dropping off a pizza. That's my labor. My labor is sitting on my ass.
Yeah.
Yet I am getting paid. I'm getting paid, like I said, $15 more an hour, and that was just yesterday. That was a Thursday. So like Fridays are way better, right? But so that's like what, 3 times? Maybe even 4 times on a good day, more than the person actually making the pizza. And I'm profiting off of that. You know? I feel bad, but at the same time, it's like I got kids, motherfuckers.
Well, yeah, and I'm also of the camp of I don't believe in like the 8-hour work days. Like I do legitimately feel like 8-hour work days are a waste, because you're like a lot of times you're being paid 8 hours to sit there, you know? And like for me in my role, whenever because I was call center wise, working from home still.
Here's my role.
Here's my role. I basically for 8 hours was a customer service worker answering calls and answering people's complaints instead of selling
Right.
things. You know, that's pretty much what my job
Did you
would
turn
be.
it off and then turn it back on?
But like yeah, it's just 8 hours of that is unnecessary. I can complete the majority of my job. Like I could, in that sense too, I could probably make a good several sales in 4 hours and be done with the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you can't suggest something like that because the people in power are going to try to manipulate it to do what you want, but it's still not going to work out well for you. It's like, oh, you only want to work 4 hours, well, that's all we're going to pay you then, and not give you any extra pay. Like that, no, that's not how it works. You're not going to pay us less
For the same amount of labor, right?
Yeah, because that labor you're paying for 8 hours, most of that's not going to use.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, like that's corporate America right there is something like Domino's, where it's like literally the people doing most of the labor don't get the money. You know. Now, on the plus side, our manager, most of the time he's making pizzas. Most of the time he's boxing up the pizzas. So he is constantly moving, and that's extremely motivational.
Yeah.
To see him like on the front line, so to speak, or whatever. He's literally doing the job himself, and that's really good. So luckily we don't have like a manager who literally just goes and answers answers emails and makes invoices. There you go, Nick. All day long. No, we have somebody who's literally like on the front lines with us all the time, and so it's like that's nice. That's nice to have that or whatever, but still it's like, you know, yeah, every once in a while when I really think about it, it's like I feel guilty. I feel guilty getting paid so much more than somebody who's just doing so much more than me. You know, and I'm reaping the benefit of corporate America, and you know, you know, when we go back to the beginning of the show, when I was talking about how I don't like my job, that is part of it. You know, that's part of me not like it. Yeah.
Is this what Michael Moore feels like? I wonder.
More.
Yeah,
what?
we should title this episode "Nick and Nate Say Fuck Capitalism."
Fuck capitalism. Yeah, but see, like without capitalism, then we're not United States. It's like who fucking decided that? Who decided that it
The rich
has
elite.
to? Yeah, who decided that it had to be this way? You know, and especially if you look at somebody like fucking Jeffrey motherfucking Bezos, and how he has a net worth of bloody fucking $1 billion or whatever, and what the fuck does he do all day? Seriously, I mean, granted, I'd imagine out of an entire week, there's probably a good solid 8 hours where he's doing shit.
It's one of those, if the man suffers from anxiety or anything like that, he definitely probably is like very mentally taxing. But if he's just not, if he's like a power hungry guy like we expect him to be, then he probably just doesn't.
Well, right, but I mean, he's off there doing like fucking like going off into the fucking atmosphere and
well, that's
whatnot.
what I'm saying.
But my point is that he's gotten to the point right now where hopefully, you know, he has his co-CEOs, or he has his branch managers, and those branch managers have branch managers, and you know, so he has so many
he's
prongs
making money just sitting there
below him that it's like, what does he honestly have to do in order to? Of course, he's going to have meetings where he's like, okay, guys, let's talk about synergy. You know, but it's like, how much is he actually
a thing
doing?
that doesn't exist in Amazon.
This piece of paper comes across him. Somebody explains what the piece of paper says, and he signs it, and people get paycheck. And the thing is that there's a human resources, so it's not even like literally Jeff Bezos is like, yeah, you get paid. No, so he hired somebody to do that for him. So it's like, what does he do? What does he honestly do? He made something, and then he just hired a bunch of people to do it for him. Which is corporate America in a goddamn nutshell. Because Bobby Kotick, I mean, like, what the fuck does he do for Activision? What does he honestly do other than yes to this project, no to that
I'll tell you
project.
what, he keeps HR busy.
Or not, because he doesn't tell them about it. Hey-o!
Or he threatens to kill them or fire them. Hey-o!
Yeah.
Welcome to Earth. This is America.
Welcome to real life. Have a look around. That seems like a good dying down moment if we ever had one. We going for about an hour of fuck capitalism, but hey, that's life. I feel like this is the most life-centric show we've had so far.
We'll end it with open your eyes, people. Don't be sheep.
Don't be sheeple.
Don't be sheeple.
Oh, and watch out for Decepticon. I mean, Omnicron.
Omicron Persei 8. That's where it came from.
All right, so we're going to let you go here. I was Nick.
And I was Nick. I mean, Nate.
You guys have a good day. Thank you. Make sure to share, subscribe, and masticate at least 3 times daily.